Going to transition into some, those are the roundtable questions, but I think I had one question identified specifically for each one, lady and gentleman here. And so Nikki, the first one I had for you specifically was, I know you've done a bunch of stuff, right? Because we've been talking for years.
Yes.
Even just before we had this conversation about your newest thing, but what has been your proudest accomplishment so far as an entrepreneur?
Oh, woo, that, you know what? Letting go and thinking that I have to do it all.
Okay.
Understanding that I changed my mindset of that. I know things need to be done. I now think, who can do them? And now, how am I going to fit another thing in my schedule? Okay. Because as you're growing your baby, you're going to be at everything. You'll wear so many hats. And then it's going to be hard to kind of pull away to say, now I need some help. And it's like, help, no, this is my thing. They're not going to do it the right way. They're not going to do this. And no, but I had to understand, in order for me to grow, I had to step back and hire people in order for me to leverage and grow. Now that's hard because that's kind of when you're thinking about money. Well, I don't have enough to pay. No, you really don't have enough not to pay because it will turn over for you. So that right there was the biggest thing for me, being able to step back and understand that I am the CEO, not just because it sounds cool, but I am the CEO because I need to oversee and get the right people in place to do what I need them to do. So I can work in my genius area and not feel like I have to do all of these other things. I ain't no bookkeeper. I ain't no accountant. Why not just hire somebody instead of me trying to figure that stuff out, taking classes? What? Like, no, I ain't doing that. So just really understand it, that I don't have to do that I can hire people who are better at that. And that frees me up to really work in my genius with my clients, getting them the success that only I can get them, while I have everybody else doing everything else for me. I don't create no graphics. Those graphics that you see out there, Roger, I don't do that no more. No.
I'm going to say that. I mean, that's fantastic. And so that's a perfect segue into like beginning of this year, right? We're in the beginning of the year and we're doing this conference summit to kick the year off for our community of entrepreneurs. And as I'm having conversations with my clients, it's like, I believe I'm going to have a conversation about being efficient. And back in the day, Nick, we had conversations when we were in management together. I was like, I believe in being efficient. People would always be like, I believe in being efficient. And so beginning of the year, I think for entrepreneurs, small business owners, you have to think about being more efficient. And it's three things I preach. It's like either it's going to be, you need to be more efficient, your execution. Are you really being efficient executing, right? Yeah. Can you do things more efficiently? Or can you delegate, what you're talking about? Is there stuff that you need to be delegating to other people? Like instead of you trying to do it all. And the other thing you have to identify is, what do I need to eliminate? What should I just stop doing altogether, right? Let's just stop doing this altogether because it's not bringing any benefit to what I'm doing. It's not, it's nothing wrong with trying something, but you got to get to a point where you evaluate it. And if it's not working or providing the benefits you hope, you have to go ahead and be comfortable eliminating it. You know? So now we're at the point of the year where if you get starting this year off, it's about, hey, the execution, delegation, and elimination. And, so as you talked about, Nikki, being comfortable that you can delegate stuff out and do it on your own is definitely the mindset. Because again, you're already there. I'm trying to push people to where you are. Like, let's get a CEO mentality. I'm trying to do everything. Like, okay.
Yeah, hey, we have some tough conversations, Roger.
Right. You got to move with the CEO. Like, we ain't.
Nick, you're going to have to do this. Go on, Nick. You're going to do this. Okay, Roger, I'm gonna do it, Roger.
Why are we trying to still do all this stuff when you can just, again, to your point, working your genius, which is a great statement I like to hear people say. So, but now, nigga, that's fantastic. Carlos, the question Carlos, anything you want to add to that before?
You know what? It's, when I get around the entrepreneurs, find out we're in each other's video, everything she just said, I just wanted to say this. One thing me and my business partner kept talking about is like, man, we really have to buy back our time, right? And so we had to we focused this past year, 2021, to building the right team. We had to let some people go. We had to fire a couple of people early in the year. Because of that, I had to become more hands-on. I had to really be in the store working and doing all these other things, working on the product, perfecting it, making changes and all of that. But we wound up hiring, man. We got the right people in place. And to the point where the people that we hired, they look at me sideways like, man, just go home.
Yeah.
Like they look at me like,
and that's good. That's what
why,
you want, Carlos.
like, why are you here? Like, oh, my bad. Call me if you need me. And just shifting that mindset, like you say, becoming that CEO.
Yeah.
Realizing you can't do it by yourself. That was like the greatest accomplishment that I ever had.
Yes.
And trusting, because I got a young staff. We have a very young staff. And we had a meeting with them a couple weeks ago. And I said, hey, I have to trust all of you with the keys to the Porsche now. And they looked at me and they said, it's about time. You know, because
and that buy-in, you bringing them into you. Ooh, yes.
They're committed to the whole process. And they want me to be free to build in other areas, because now I can focus on other areas to make money, other income streams for the business and things like that. And that's all I've been working on since January 1. You know, so I'm highly appreciative of that.
Yeah, well,
awesome.
We got a winner with that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a winner. Delegation. That's a winner. CEO mentality. CEO mentality and delegation. There we go.
Yep.
Carlos, your question is, when was the moment you realized that that you needed to own your own business? Not even that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, that you needed to own your own business, which is a little bit different.
Man. Hey, I'm going to take you back, man, to the old Phoenix days, man. When I was real talk, I was 13. I graduated from 8th grade, and my mother asked me. She says, "What do you want for your graduation gift?" I said, "Get me a pair of adjustable clippers with guards." And she was like, "Why?" I said, "I'm about to teach myself how to cut hair." You know, and so that year, I had a cousin that he was like my test dummy. I was practicing on him, right? And perfected the craft, practicing on myself. You know, I figured some things out. And because of that, I never had to work for anyone while in high school. I would cut hair all throughout the week and make me a good 50, 60, 70 bucks during the week, while everyone else is working 20, 30 hours part-time, making $3.50 an hour. I'm literally making $5, $6 a cut, and I'm able to do more than what everyone else was doing on weekends. And I had my time. And so at that point, that's when I realized, like, entrepreneurship is definitely something I want to do. So I started speaking things into existence. And so fast forward a little bit, I get into college and I'm interning with ComEd. I'm with this organization called Inroads at the time. And we used to go to these different conferences where they have all of the college interns there, and we would go through business development workshops and things like that. And I'm sitting in that conference. We're in a room full of like 200 young adults and CEOs and VPs and middle management people. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to them lecture to me. And I said, you know what? I said, they're really teaching us how to be some really good employees. And at that moment, I realized, I said, no. Wow. I'm gonna do everything I can to get out of the rat race. So this has been in the making since I was 13, but it really, the switch really came on when I was like 19 or 20 years old. When I realized then, I said, I can't do this for the rest of my life. I have bigger dreams and I have a skill set where I can actually run a company. And the other part was this, and this is what did it for me as well. You know, everywhere I worked, I've always made decent money in corporate America. But then I would look at my checks and I would say, you know what, they can write a check for, let's say, $2,000 for me to work for them every 2 weeks, right? But my thing is like, what am I actually making them in order for them to pay me this salary?
Yeah.
And then I said, no, my name can't be on the front of the check. I want my name to be on that line in the bottom right corner. I want to be signing the checks. Yes. And so that started the journey, and now I'm finally here. You know, and so, you know, it's just been a journey. But I've been looking back and I'm like, man, I've been building for this ever since I was 13 years old.
Mhm.
And now I'm here, blah, blah, blah years later. and, and I'm actually doing everything I said I wanted to do back then. And I love it.
That's fantastic, because that's typically, it's definitely a journey to be an entrepreneur. A lot of times people see the success, they think it's like overnight, like, oh, you open a store and all. It's like, no. So you've been on this race that you talked about. I started cutting hair, learning basic business practices, doing this other stuff. You've been planting the seeds and been noticing and taking bits and pieces and preparing your mindset and gathering other additional information along the path to get to a point where you identified an opportunity, which is the gourmet popcorn, and being able to take advantage of it. So there's really no overnight scenario. And it's amazing. I talk about exposure, how many entrepreneurs end up being successful tend to be exposed to it when they're younger. Be it, and you get people get it different. Some people get it from family members, and they're like, okay, hey, I think I could be an entrepreneur, and I want to do it. And some people just are born with it, like innately, like,
I was definitely exposed, Roderick. My mother owned her own daycare center for like 20 years. And then my father, they weren't together. My father owned his own auto glass installation company. So that's from the time I became a young adult, like teenager into young adulthood, that's all I saw. That's all I saw. And I was like, this is definitely my lane.
See, I didn't even know that. So, hey, you're another case study. So, hey, it's just another reinforcement. Like that exposure piece is so important. So, man, so thanks for sharing that, man. That's great information. I'm glad that you are into it now more, and you can really live that dream and make the most out of that exposure you had when you were young and that spirit you had. Because again, hey, give me some clippers so I can cut these heads and make some money while these people are running around. Man, when you said people were making $3.50 an hour, I was like, ooh, people were making $3.50.
Yeah, $3.35 at McDonald's on 35th and State Street.
My first part-time job, I was getting paid $3.86 an hour.
Wow. Yeah.
$3.86. I was like, man, I make more cutting hair on the weekends than I do working here. I'm like, I'm losing money doing this.
Right there.
I'm losing money. Carlos, that's spot on. I love that.
Losing money.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't keep doing this. I gotta go.
Yeah. Nikki, you have anything comments you want to jump and share about Carlos' response there?
I was a corporate girl. I was straight corporate. I mean, I did some side hustles when I was younger, what have you. Been working ever since I was, 10, 11, babysitting, that kind of thing. But I really didn't get the bug until I went to my first Women of Power conference, and that's via, this major organization, and people know Women of Power through Black Enterprise Magazine. And so when I'm looking at them and, I'm like, you know what, I can do what they doing. They ain't no different than me. And I've dabbled in a little bit, MLMs here or there, just learning, the basics, because sometimes MLMs can teach you the basics of how to do business because you have somebody else's model. But I'm like, no, I don't want to be only making a portion of it. I was like, one makeup company, I don't want to name. I said, I'm gonna give them 50% of everything I make. No, I need 100% of what I'm doing. So I'm like, no, love, I'd support my friends and I buy the stuff, but I'm like, that's not for me. So really attending those conferences and really I'm watching what they're doing. These are successful women who look like us, and some not, they're men as well. I just started saying, you know what, I have something that I can do. So that started me thinking of all types of crazy ideas. My husband, every time I turned around, I came up with an invention. I was inventing stuff, and all this kind of stuff. He's like, oh gosh, not another invention. So, I bugged him about, I told him, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur one day. I just don't know what yet, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I didn't know until my two direct reports in corporate America told me I should take my own talent to do that. They said, Miss Nickquolette, I would hire you because you're really good at this. If I didn't work for you, I said, people, and they say, people get paid for this. I said, people get paid for this? That opened my eyes. And then I said, okay. And then I just used social media and told my success about getting people promoted internally because I've always done it. And I just did it for fun because I love writing. I know the art of words. I know how to take words and twist them so that they they're powerful, so people can land the jobs verbally as well as on paper. Didn't know it was an actual industry, and I also did not know that there was not many African Americans in that industry as well. So for me to be able to get into the industry and do what I did is really where I got my aha. So yeah, it wasn't something I saw in my life growing up or anything like that. I didn't have that, but I'm praying that I'm modeling that for my daughter.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, she'll definitely, it'll be interesting, but I've seen the next generation of how they just innately get it and they don't even realize they got it. You know, and I'm seeing this in more and more, I guess, our peers. They're looking at their kids and how they operate, the ones who are entrepreneurs, and how their kids operate versus my friends whose kids they're corporate people and their kids operate differently. And they just look at the things differently because of that. So, but yeah, I mean, exposure is fantastic and it's great. And at least it's another option. And I think that's just, even in a new way, things move so fast now. Even if you don't become an entrepreneur or small business owner, you need to have an entrepreneurial mindset in how you live your life and how you navigate your career, because things change so fast now these days. If you're not having an entrepreneurial approach to how you live in your life, you're gonna get left behind.
And one of my mottos is become the CEO of your own career, and that could be as an entrepreneur, or the best employee a company has, because we all still have the same departments. As an individual, you have your finance department, your public relations department, your marketing department, and you have what else other departments are there? All those departments, HR departments, all of those within yourself, right? So you are the CEO.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. Well, that's great. So I had some questions from the community, but as I'm looking and I'm checking off some of the stuff that we've talked about, I think we've hit on all of them. So we're not going to have to make up stuff. We've had such a great conversation. But I know we are going to be wrapping up. So before we wrap up, I want to give each of you the opportunity, after you show us so much wisdom with us, to give you an opportunity to leave us with any words of wisdom that you have for our community, and then even tell us a little bit about what's next for your business, or what's new and exciting you got going on that you would want our community and anyone that listens to this webinar, seminar down the road, that they get benefit from.
Speaking to existence, bro.
That's right.
Great. So Nikki, your thoughts? What's words of wisdom for entrepreneurs, and what's next for you? What you got going on? What do you want to share with us? What's next for your business?
Oh, excellent. Well, my words of wisdom is to stick with it. And when things get tough, if you need to pivot and think of different ways. Don't give up, because most businesses, as they say, fail early because they're not really pushing it. They just give up because, again, they're chasing the money. But think about how can you be of service and stick with it and be consistent with it. And things will come to you on how to make it better for those who you serve. And then what's next for my business, as we were laughing about before we got on, I just launched iRock Staffing Services, where we help small businesses with staffing services, 100% virtual assistance to do social media, cold calling, customer service, or what have you. So I have staffing, and our rates are extremely low because we have a dynamic staff and they are degreed. So iRock Staffing Services just launched. So if you need staffing for your business at a low rate that you can afford, call me up.
What's your contact information, Nikki, before I forget?
Oh, yes. For staffing, it's staffing@irockresumes.com. Or if you're interested in any kind of career help, you can go right to the website and fill out a contact us form, irockresumes.com, or you can email me at irock@irockresumes.com. And I'm all over social media at irockresumes, and put the S on there, and connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where I do a lot of my hanging out. LinkedIn is where it is. And you can put my name there. My name is so long. Yeah. Well, 12 letters, and it's a lot. He's gonna have to put it in there, because you put it NICKQ. I am the only one on Facebook and LinkedIn with that spelling of a name. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be on your profile when you doing your presentation. Yeah, we're going to have it out there. So they'll be
Good,
able to,
good.
yeah, they'll be able to cut and paste. Well, could not cut and paste, but they'll be able to, okay,
Yeah, write it down. They're gonna be like,
All
"What?
right.
I'm still writing." Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You know, I had no control over it, Mama. Mama did that to me, so.
Hey, well, she made you unique. You're not hard to find. Bam,
That's
there we
true.
go.
I'm not. Yep,
Right.
I'm not. You can find me.
Carlos, same to you. Words of wisdom for entrepreneurs, and what's next for that gourmet popcorn we got going on.
All right. Words of wisdom, man. Don't quit. Always keep your why in front of you. Things are going to be difficult. Don't let people sugarcoat you into thinking that entrepreneurship is easy. And don't let someone else's success take away from the journey, because that journey is there for a reason. Learn everything you need to learn in every step of the journey, because all of that is important for you to sustain your business. And lastly, always keep in mind that you owe it to fight through, because you never know who's watching you. There are a lot of people that you started this business in front of, and they are looking for you to be successful, because they are trying to find a blueprint themselves. And a lot of times they look at you as that blueprint because they trust you. So always keep that in mind, that you owe it to the people watching you to keep fighting. What's next for pop culture? Man, this year is going to be a year of expansion. We're about to go on to Amazon within the next few weeks. And we're looking at actually opening a third location. We've done some adjusting where we have our own manufacturing plant now. Our first store in Phoenix, we converted that to just strictly manufacturing. Our Homewood location, that's a retail location, busier space. We bring everything there, and we're looking to expand into another store. So we should be bringing on a few franchisees this year too. That's heavy on the horizon for us, because I feel like now we're at that place where we can handle it.
Dallas.
We said Dallas. Oh my God,
you better, because we don't have the big boys in Chicago here, so you can get here.
We are on the way. Trust me on that.
Yes.
Frisco.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas. Yeah. Don't play with me. So we're coming.
I'm a big popcorn girl. I love popcorn.
So just drop our information. You can reach us online. Our website is www.popculturegp.com. When you go to that website, you'll have access to all of our contact information, our phone numbers, our email address, and everything like that. And you get a chance to take a look around and see what we actually offer. We're unique. We have a lot of unique flavors, and man, we just think that we're one of a kind. That's how I feel. No one is doing it better than us. That's how I look at it. So that's what's up for pop culture this year.
Fantastic. Hey, well, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing all the development. I'm sitting here like, man, you guys not playing this year. I got to get on my game. I had some things planned, but I'm gonna have to go back and revisit and add a little extra. You guys not playing. This next year is gonna be fantastic. So, I'm so excited and glad to have you, to know you've worked with you guys, consider you guys friends, and to be able to see you guys expand your business as this journey continues for each of you. I know it's going to be nothing but success. You guys have come so far already in your business models, and that I know that the sky is the limit. So I thank you again for taking the time out to share those journeys and those experiences, and those tips and motivation with the community, because that's what we need for all of us to stay together and stay committed. Because hey, we don't necessarily all have to do the thing, the same thing to be successful. But you know what? Sometimes we need each other to be successful.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So this community allows us to do that, and so I'm just glad you guys are part of the community, and definitely looking forward to just seeing the ultimate success you do have. And so with that, again, thank you guys for participating. And
yes, sir. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody that logged in today to watch this seminar. And hey, you got some great comments. Please drop those in the comment section below. You have any questions for me, you have any questions for Nikki, you have any questions for Carlos, I'll definitely get that information to them so that they can respond to you. And obviously, if you're in need of any type of services, resume or staffing services, you know who to reach out to. And if you got an event or you need some special popcorn to really make your event stand out, or to make an impression on that certain someone, then we got some gourmet popcorn that you can get to make sure that happens. And so definitely look for supporting each other, and then support you. We'll support you as you support each other. And hey, thank you for tuning into this session of the Ready, Set, Launch virtual Entrepreneurial Mindset Summit, and look forward to the next session and continue to build community. And as I always say, ready, set, let's launch as a community.